I wanted to talk a little bit about the program for the Arduino. Now, when you go to the My Ford Boy and you go to the wiring part 3, there's a link in there that sends you to a digital machinist site, and they want you to go to this guy named Lemming. And I think it was some kind of winter edition book. Anyway, when you find that, you're going to download this file. It's a DM 8.4. So when you download that file, what you get is you get two README files, and you get the step indexer 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. Now the one that I think everybody's using is a 2.3 because that's the latest version. But so what I did was I took it's an info file. It's a program file, but it's a -INO, I think it was. And I put that on my desktop so I could have it. And then if you go to this place, learnsparkfun.com, they kind of walk you through how to install the program. Now I thought it would be really difficult, but there's I downloaded these pages. I think there were like 5 or 6 pages. So they walk you through it, and it turned out to be pretty easy. What you do is you have to go to the Arduino site and you download their main program, and then you plug your Arduino in and you load the drivers in it by right clicking, and then you load this they call it a blink program. It's to make sure that everything's working fine, and it turns this little light on, it turns this little light off, turns it on, turns it off. So then I took my step indexer file 2.3 and I loaded it into their program, and it told me that I couldn't load it in the program, but they were going to open a separate window for it. So it did it. And then when you load it into the Arduino, it's called compile. So you're taking the program and you're compiling it, and then you're loading it into the Arduino. And that turned out pretty good. I didn't really have any trouble with it, except for when I went to use it. If you remember back in the early videos, I couldn't get it didn't look like it was working, and that was because of the blue screen. You have to take that contrast dial and you have to turn it clockwise about 10-15 turns before you start to see something. I thought it was only like 5 or 6 turns. But when you download this, you get me these README files. And these README files, it tells you how to set up you go into the program and you change a few things. I mean, it was really simple. I mean, I only changed like 1 or 2 things. A couple of numbers, you have to add a couple numbers. And if you have different gear ratios, you can program different gear ratios into your program, like using program 1, 2, or 3. And then that was one of the README files. And the other README file was the wiring diagram. That's the one I showed you earlier. And I added this little thing on the bottom because the shield. So the minus is 12 volt minus. And then the 12 volt plus is here because you have the power supply coming in, 12 volt minus, 12 volt plus, and you also have to have the shield coming in, the ground, which loops across that and goes to this one, and then you have the positive 12 volts, which goes into this one. And that would be see here he calls it VDD, and on mine it's VIN. And that's the 12 volt positive. And then the negative is just the ground. And here's that little 50-100 UF, that little round thing. I keep calling it a resistor or a rectifier or whatever the thing is called. But anyway, that's where it goes, between the ground and the positive. It's not stopping one and going to another. It's just in line with them. Whatever it does, I don't know what it does, but it's in there. So that was the Arduino program. That worked out really well. I didn't have any issues at all. So don't be afraid to try it. And good luck.